All right, everybody. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into today. Whole lot going on. Of course, we got Mitch Ray coming in a few moments. And the obvious thing Bitcoin 44,000 now above the big hop level on the type 2. We have failed. This is huge, really enormous. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome, Harmonic Pattern Podcast. Really happy to have everybody here on Thursday around 11:30. We're here Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday about 11:30. So subscribe and get with the whole program. And I'm going to give you guys the big pump. Let's go, let's go. Right? Bitcoin. How about almost a year since we've had this kind of action? It's crazy. This is huge, 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 huge. And we know with all of the other patterns what this will mean. It's open season, so let's go, let's go. I mean, really, it's absolutely monstrous. And I told Mitch, I said yesterday to Mitch in the Discord, you wanted to watch for 44,000. First I said 45,000, but I said this to Mitch just yesterday. Where is it? I have to show it to him. 44,000. And there it is. Now we have 30 minutes. So now we're here. Here we go. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now, let's fade that, go with what we got here. And this whole terminal bar on the 4 hour, folks. We said on Tuesday 43,341, 43,300. This is beautiful. This is official failed harmonic pattern point, and that's a major kind of acceleration for larger possibilities. I can't underestimate how big of a move this is. It takes out a whole bunch of levels where you finally can get W formations. And this is the thing we traced out with Bitcoin on Tuesday in our session, saying, is this a Gartley? Are we looking at a Gartley from X to A? Your B point, 64.5. This is so close. I mean, is that a 618? Does that qualify as a B point at a 618? C point at a 96? We would typically look for a 786, which is uh, essentially hitting where we are now, 43,000. The software is not picking this up on the daily chart. If you want to connect some dots, those are okay, but this is why we talk about terminal bar. This is why we wait for the actual pattern completion. So if all the numbers are 43.9, 43, yeah, 43.9 of that possibility, well, I would want to see a breakout here. Strong candle up, close above the numbers. Close above 44,000. And then once you take that out, as we have been saying, you start to with the possibility of triggering bigger BAM scenarios with harmonic pattern collection software, and that's what I'm working with. Today we'll be working with the TradingView platform, and we'll be doing mostly crypto. Maybe we'll get into some indices a little bit later, but crypto is at a point, because there are so many patterns here, that it's not just a breakout, and it's not just your average little consolidation move. We're trying to take out this, I would say, the better part of a almost 90-day, 100-day range that, in a sloppy way, depending on the market, but in a sloppy way, yeah, we have harmonic patterns down here. And that's really the critical aspect of this breakout, is that there are a number of things behind the structures that maybe took 3 to 6 months, depending on your market, to develop, complete. Now you're starting to come out of the zone. And even if we're going to use this bat pattern, which I will on the daily time frame, our target one level for that bat pattern of even a nominal but strong reaction would be 51.4. So big stuff. And again, for the patterns we have been discussing in terms of the absolute automatic structures, which I think is, for me, that those are the levels that are the most decisive, the true make or break. And we have been bouncing between this bat pattern from last week. We did a type 1 reaction, and now we're failing it. We're failing it in terms of price, and the other thing, we're failing it in terms of total bars. And your 30 bar limit for that possibility ends, in a few days. So let's see, because we clear these levels out. Someone's saying 50K, let's get it. If this is the breakout and you need continuation, finally, really finally. So let me bring Mitch in, connect with him. And I did want to show this to you. Yeah, where was that? I thought 45, 44 or 45. again yesterday. I was really looking for 44 yesterday for that to move. So let me, here we go. Hey, Mitch, I'm going to bring you in 1 second here. Now you are on. Say
Oh my
something.
goodness. Hello.
How's Mitch sound, everybody? Shout out to the chat, Mitch Ray, one and all,
The eyes of the world are upon us.
one and only with the Mitch Ray TA crew in the chat as well.
Mitch
Obviously,
Ray. Yeah.
Mitch Ray
Uh
TA. Say that 10
this
times.
yeah, I don't think you can. Well, if you have a few beers, it's gonna be impossible, but thank God it's the morning. So wow, what a development. Kind of an occurrence, maybe, with less than 12 minutes to go until this 4 hour bullish engulfing candle is confirmed. I like. I'm digging it. We're almost to this. Yep. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think we've ever had an actual kind of pump stream uh while we're live on your stream together, right? I think this might be a first, which is cool. Yeah, that's in no man's land. I mean, it's kind of just up against that March 1st second high right now, you know. And once that's breached, that's kind of like a BAMM in its own right, I guess. I don't know. They said muted. You weren't muted here, but I don't know.
Let me check that.
Oh, you muted yourself?
I think so, but they can hear you. Excellent. Um, I think the just the larger time frames of daily seem like they're in slow motion. So it takes time. If you go to the daily, this is a 4 hour chart or 1 hour where you're at a 1618 of the last week's a little bit that first reaction from 42.4 down to perfect target one level at 40,534, basically 40,500. And so we're at a weekly. I'll trace it out. The software is showing the pending pattern, but just even the
The
ones.
weekly?
No. Right now I'm showing the hourly time frame,
Okay.
where you're at a 1618, or really
Ah,
really just kind of blowing through a 1618 from the 19th, the March 19th high down to the low on the 21st. So it's like a 3 day, 5 day swing, 1618. Not a bit,
yeah, and
not a biggie.
you're above the March 2nd high, 786 now. You just blew past it. It was 43,688, which would be, we talked about before the stream, the Gartley idea that Scott seems to think that the B point might be a little too high on that. And then I said, fine, then I raise you to the deep crab idea with the major anchor point from February 10th. And gotta love that one because it makes too much sense. Like if it played out just based on where the pattern completion zone is, um, right at that September 7th high. Are you able to show them that one?
Yeah, I'm just connecting some dots right now, and I put the magnet. I should let me reestablish the. Yeah, the magnet's on. Let me make sure I've got the right. Check that X point there. This thing gets really sticky, but the your ooh, depending on the data feed, your B point's at a 66%. It's kind of a nasty one right now. Let me try something else. Just double check this. Again, the B point factor is so critical with the Gartley because if the Gartley isn't a really super tight 618, a lot of times it goes in, morphs into a crab pattern. In this instance, you're starting to get an extended CD leg. And this is just off of the data from the March correction. You get a breakout over the next few days. 1618 on this is, yeah, 50,500.
DK. Yeah, I mean that's definitely kind of like where you think we'd be headed if we're breaking a rectangle we've been confined within for almost the entire year, of 2022. And I think it's God, we can see 44, 45K again. I mean, like I think we've got that partial decline confirmed that is potential right now. And just reading about it a little bit, yeah, good performance. Like 33% upside for rectangles if the breakout occurs. I mean that's an incredible performance. Where Bulkowski in his research of the partial decline, if these rectangles or these broadening patterns didn't have a partial decline before they actually bullishly broke out, they only performed, they had 29% average performance. So the partial decline helps the performance of these patterns, which is really cool to see it kind of developing right now. And I think, why would we not go to that 50 to 53K area? Almost everything lines up there. The smaller harmonic, but also the larger harmonic, that deep crab, and it's all lined up with a critical support resistance. And again, that's like between 52, 51. Yeah, it's like 52 to 53K, you know.
I think so. And let me just give one or two reasons why, it's not a Gartley. It's even if you wanted to say it's a Gartley, I think a couple of the characteristics of the Gartley, not only the B point, you want that ABCD character, and this is where the magnet's going to get me. Um, you want the 618, and you also want an ABCD. I mean, some kind of minimum
Hmm.
ABCD that in this instance, it's a really shallow ABCD because it's your C points at a 92.4, 93%, something like that. Um, and then take a look. I mean, this is really common. It seems like it's just moving in slow motion, but it's a daily chart. It's going to take days, if not weeks.
Hmm.
But you have this kind of extended CD leg stretching out. A real simple trait of the ABCDs, especially the ones that work, are that the AB segment is not only equivalent in distance but time, and that's only three legs. Was a super impulsive move straight back down, and then we're four,
Is A, is
eight.
A February 24th or
A,
what's the A point?
A is March 7. We're
March 7th.
just looking
Okay.
off of X to A from this month's data.
Okay. Let's see. So, and then B point's going to be March 9th. Is that right? Is that real?
Yeah, March
And
9.
C March 14th, and then D. Well, dang, an 886 on C. So, what is the if it's an 886 on C, what is the threshold on D?
The D is, in these instances, because you have this unique ABCD, you really want to focus on the 786. You don't want to see it in a Gartley exceed that 786. It does have the valid points, especially with 618 and 786. There's a There's a relationship there in the best of Gartley's where, yes, something is happening, especially with an ABCD. This one does have it. Your ABCD though is at 43,000. Your 786 is 43.7, or no, more like 44. Um, it just is not as ideal as you want to see in a Gartley. So we'll see. And this is where, because we hit the 786 on this bar, we're 3 minutes until the next 4 hour, or well, no, sorry, the
You got
four,
2 minutes.
yeah, well, for the 4 hour time frame.
Hmm.
I'm looking both. I'm showing the daily. The 4 hours probably the better place to look because of that bat pattern, and I'm tracing out the 4 hour time frame. You can have that Gartley, which is 44K, and then in the CD leg of that Gartley, you do have this smaller bat, but the bat looks like it wants to fail. It's really kind of pushing above a couple of real nice resistance triggers that happened
44
back
again.
on Tuesday.
Session highs. Uh,
Bang.
just a random fun fact on the 12-hour, Bitcoin's above the 200 moving average for the first time this year. Or really, it's the first time really since December 3rd when it fell through it, when it was collapsing. December 4th was a terrible day. So I think this is incredible. I mean, to see these things happening, man, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's all happening at the most reasonable areas you could ever dream of, Just like the massive 886. It is so crazy. January 24th, you touched it perfectly, and you never touched it again. You had about, I don't know, a few hours if you wanted an 886. Those bots just bought up Bitcoin there. And it was just so strong you could never see it again. I mean, you did a type 2 return February 24th, but that was when it was outperforming. It's been outperforming the stock market ever since, like massively. It's just an incredible sight to behold.
And look at what it's doing at the numbers. Okay, 1 minute until this next 4 hour bar. This is huge. But it's not, you don't have to force it. It's something I always recommend to people, especially that are new to the measurements and how to read it, is, just tell me what it's doing at the level. And this one's about to brush up against your 886.
Engulfing confirmed. There it is.
Bingo. And 886 is, just a hair above this 44 level. Basically 44.4. And this should, crush it. So I think we're going to see that follow through probably going into tonight's close. And then certainly this bodes extremely well for your longer term charts. Your
Oh
weekly,
yeah.
monthly, quarterly charts now look completely different than 20, 30 days ago. Uh,
Yeah, you gotta love it, man.
let's get a
I love
Coinbase feed.
this. Love the way, like, I don't really look at moving averages much, but dang, dude. Like, I'm just looking at the 8-hour, and we're like above all the moving averages, and they're all bullishly crossing over. You'll get moving averages, they'll converge together, and then they get, once the price action separates and you get above all the moving average, you start like the faster moving averages start diverging away from the slower moving averages. We're starting to do that. We're beginning. It's like the beginning of bullish fanning. Such like healthy price action going on right now. But yeah, I mean you were talking about like the significant time scales. That's why you couldn't be that concerned about like maybe a bear. It might be a bearish Gartley, dude. It might be this or that. Maybe a type two, but it's like yeah. But if you look at the daily and the weekly is our friend. I mean the daily. Whew, it's so good looking, and the 3 day, right? That's what kept us sane during all this chop. It's incredible.
I think we're back in business. I mean, we're back in major business because um, once you clinch these areas, it's there's like a process that begins, and we're seeing that on the daily, the 4 hour, even some weekly, but the monthly, you're it's not going to be, you're not going to have M's or W's that much, but for a longer term uptrend, all you really need is a breakout above last month's high to confirm that longer term bullish reversal. That's 46, basically 46 400, another 2,500 from current levels. If you can do that within a week, that'd be enormous. That would be a really a single bar reversal. Would be great if it was a 3 bar reversal, but um, either way, you're setting up where maybe you get some kind of close that's in this 45 level and then pop next on the next quarter, next month into April. Just, the time is, again, more about time than price. And I think that will kind of be the saying throughout the summer as Bitcoin does its move and finally just drawing a little downtrend line right now and showing the November peak down to the current lows, and um, you're to the right of that downtrend, starting to look for opportunities. I think by definition, especially with a bullish candle on the monthly.
Yeah, and like the weekly, I guess makes it all kosher because you had that bullish engulfing candle last week above the candle high closes from last year. The hidden bullish divergence is very real in the weekly, and also you have not seen positive momentum, on the histogram since November 22nd, and it's all but gone, right? I mean, it's like completely reset. This is what an asset looks like that's completely reset on significant time scales, and I think closing in 3 days and 8 hours, which is that's a long time. But if you close above that, it would be the highest weekly candle close you've seen since December 27th. It would be the highest weekly candle close of the year of 2022. And I mean, if you care about candle closes on the weekly, it'd be taking out the January 31st highs, February 7th highs. I mean, this would be a massive breakout. And just nothing makes sense until 52, 53K from here. Nothing.
Mitch, you use the moving average convergence divergence indicator, or to use MACD strategy for your indicator for
Uh,
TradingView? It's a standard one.
yeah, I think it's just the MACD. I don't
Okay,
know. Yeah, it's just MACD. Yeah.
let me
Whoa,
see that.
dude, that's crazy. The MACD histogram on the daily is 420 right now. What? Let's go. Is Elon in chat? I don't know.
I'm gonna bring that back
Oh.
in. I don't. I use the MACD that, I mean, you use that a lot. I think that's a really great visual way to be looking for changes and continuations. I'm gonna bring it's that one. Yeah. And then you combine that with RSI, or I'm looking at
Hmm.
the other thing we've been looking at is HSI, my harmonic strength index, and we got a lot of triggers. We got a lot of signals on the daily that preceded all of this. So that's what I'll be watching as we go higher. We're gonna bust through. The MACD looks really nice. Let me just expand
Oh
that.
yeah, the histogram looks incredible. I mean, even on the daily, where you're just building positive momentum. I mean, you're cracking like on the RSI, you're cracking above 60 today. You're at 60.93. This is like legendary setup. I mean, if you just, we've rejected 60 March 1st, we rejected 60 February 15th, and around February 8th. But this time we think it's different because that was before we had confirmed the bottom, the type 2 on that massive shark. Man, I love it. And I'm looking at the Gaussian channel tool, and wow, I mean, you're above that inner band. You're actually testing the outer band on the upside. Yeah, I mean, dude,
Really,
things look good, man.
yeah. I mean, it's again, for the first time in a long time, we have not been in a position like this. If you want to go get some relative perspective, let me dial this back. We have to go at least to last year. Um, it's a slightly different position, but last July, doing the same kind of a thing, but took, I don't know
Wow.
how many, what, two
And it's a
months?
higher low.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, it was terrible. It was I don't know, I think that that range was way more brutal than the one we have now. I say that, but at the same time, we didn't really have like the crazy war catalyst and all these equities and index funds freaking out, commodities. So that's added a little bit of spice to this recent 2 month consolidation. But this consolidation, I think, certainly better because I mean, you were making you like it's crazy. The bottom of that July range, you would like fallen below support, 30K. You'd made your lowest candle close since the beginning of the year. So it had been like, 7 months, 7 month lows, right? And then you engulfed back above that support the next day. That's scary. Like here, it's almost just like, oh yeah, man, if it just keeps making higher lows and outperforming index funds, it's kind of telling us and telegraphing the outperformance and what could be coming next. Where on that one, it was a lot tougher. So it's just IMO maybe.
What was this? Like 60 days down here? See, until it really broke out. Yeah, it's been almost 80 days in that
Yeah, it's
from the
been
dip down into that whole consolidation zone. This is last July, June, July, folks. Actually, May, June, July, and then did not
how about
really.
the same amount of time. I mean, do, measure from May 19th to like freaking July 21st. It was like 64 days. And you measure from the January 21st, 24th dump to now, it's like they're 62 to 64 days. Like the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's look at that. Really from the dump, but yeah, I see what you're saying. To where it's the larger breakdown, which was the December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to now
Yeah, it
you're
started in July
116.
or
You could really start January on this one, which
yeah, I would say like I started my for the using that tool May 19th to July 21st and then January 22nd or whatever to like now, same time.
well, here's the bigger BAM principle, folks. And what do we mean by BAM? BAM is
Oh
bat
yeah.
action magnet move. And I want to highlight one or two things of why 45,000, 500, even be a little more conservative and wait till 46,000 is just structurally the huge harmonic breakout point. It would be obvious. I think most people would say, yeah, that's the obvious point, Scott. Come on. But there are measurements here where we connect dots. We can lay out the minimums. If we go off the all time high to low, all right, you have your X to A, you have a rather low B point, not
It's
quite,
like 37.
yeah, not a 38.2 minimum.
It's close, right? It's like meets the 3% criteria.
Uh, it
Uh,
it does for alternate bat.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I just messaged you like the beginning of its develop or like, we've already started the C wave, right? Hypothetically.
I think we have, and it's because we've established at least two lows from
Yep.
2 weeks ago, and then
Absolutely.
I mean by definition the B point here, that's your harmonic breakout level. That's why do we call it BAM? Because it's a bat action magnet move. You have a bat pattern set up, you get 4 of the 5 points, and then once we take out that B point and it comes together, we target the pattern completion. Unless something.
Wait. Yep, April 14th, 2021, high. That's the target. I mean, on the dot to the T.
So, absolutely a major breakout above this 45.5 area, that prior B point. And as we were saying, we broke it down on a 4 hour when we started the session, broke it down even on a daily. What are some of the reasons why it might not be a Gartley? Not great symmetry. B point's a little not in the best position. And then it just comes down to tell me what happens after this bar going to the right the next 2, 3 days. That will really tell you
Yeah, it's
how.
the context.
Yeah,
It's the context and it's the fact that You can't, I don't even think you can identify that potential Gartley really on the daily. I mean, I can kind of see it, but it's so small and insignificant, and the context is just terrible for it because, oh, you're trying to tell me there's a Gartley, but that's happening after it just confirmed that the second low is in. You know, if you're looking at the daily, February 22nd was the first low, and then, March 7th through the 14th was the second low. So, I mean, I think it's like confirmation of accumulation. So it just, and then the weekly hidden bullish divergence and where we are. I mean, looking for a bearish Gartley after an asset's confirmed a bottom on significant time scales is just, that's not a good idea. I mean, it just doesn't make too much sense. Now, if we're identifying all this stuff after Bitcoin's run up and it's butting up against the resistance at 58K and it's showing a bearish Gartley or something, I think that'd probably be better context. But for here, it's just these aren't the areas to be looking for bearish patterns, I don't think, because you just had freaking 4 months, dude, to identify Bitcoin never making a higher high, only making like classic distribution structures on 60-minute 4 hour timescales before collapsing. And those were like easy to identify. We were looking at them on stream like every day. And then boom, dump. And then it rallied and then they'd consolidate and then dump again. That stuff's not happening anymore, you know?
No, and again, I'm just saying on this daily, connecting dots. If you just were going to do the absolute minimum, connect dots. What are some of the things that are kind of pointing towards the possibility of this not being a retracement pattern? It's the beginning of an eventual 1618. Becomes a crab pattern. Where would that take you? Again, that's above 50K. From this point here, knowing that it will take more time, the Gartley scenario is not valid either because you're only 22, 23 bars in development. We know we need 30 bars to have a valid harmonic pattern. So again, this is kind of like a deductive way to just connect the dots, to read what's there on the chart, and then put some filters on. How many bars? Where are we relative to the trend? Are we breaking out, breaking down? What do some indicators look like? This is where you then can kind of build the story of possibilities, which is something we've actually been really focused on since the beginning of some higher lows. The 27th, like Mitch said, you go on the 9th or the 12th here, which were real significant, and then get some kind of breakout off those two lows that then give you more of a W shape that's okay, minimum crab. Even if you were still super bearish, you'd have to say this is in the midst of a corrective move off of this consolidation zone. I don't think that's a stretch. So
Yeah, I don't know how you could be bearish when we have a literal technical daily candle close confirmed breakout 2 days ago, and then yesterday we confirmed the breakout's validity with a successful back test. I mean, like you can be bearish all you want, right? Oh, I don't trust this, but if you are, you have to say this is not an area where like taking an active short makes too much sense. It just doesn't. Maybe by the time we get to the 64K at the 886 might be a great area again, but like these are just bad areas. You don't like I don't know, a bullish breakout with strong forms of confirmation on significant time scales never seems like a great area to be going short on anything ever, right? It's just high risk for a short.
yeah, and without confirmation, you're jumping in too soon. There's always going to be plenty of time, and I've been
Mhm.
feeling like these kind of larger patterns that some of them have been sloppy. Right now, I just popped up the daily on the crypto total crypto market cap, where we've had a real sloppy bat pattern. I'm not going to get into explaining why it's still legitimate. It's just more of looking at the general M formation against some static support and saying, okay, we're responding and we've given it enough time where the consolidation is trying to continue higher within the context of the larger trend, especially with the downtrend. I mean, you just draw a downtrend line off of November peak on Bitcoin or total. you've broken out, and that's where then
Hmm.
possibilities start to take shape. And we've discussed this. Some of the levels we've talked about can be derived, I think, a number of ways, but clearly you're cracking above this downtrend, and then once we get above that 2 trillion on total,
Hmm.
I would think 2.3, 2.35 is
Yeah,
not a
that's it.
stretch.
No, nothing makes sense beyond that, really. I mean, besides like, okay, this year, since January, it hasn't been regarded as a straight up, straight down like area, like thin order books. I mean, but before that, I mean, the only price action you received between 1.78 trillion and 2.2 to 2.3 trillion was straight up, straight down. So at this point, after confirming your bottom, and then on your second low, you locally confirmed a bottom. I just don't know how this isn't going up to that 2.2 trillion, or at least to the 2.16 trillion, which is the 200-day simple moving average on total.
Yeah, and you do have an interesting W formation that once we get above the B point, which is 2.08, you do have the making of a Gartley. Again, it's doesn't really fit. It's not. I mean, it's close. It's really close to the 618 level, but
Yeah.
you still have to, if you connect those dots and you say, okay, B points at a 618, your minimum 786 off of the December peak into the January low, that's still a 786 little internal swing retracement. All of these still point higher. You crack this where we are now, you have to test these minimum levels. So after what, all year, since mid-January for the total index, we have gone through this consolidation. We've been dealing with that downtrend, and now the last week finally starting to show itself.
Yeah, we finally made for the first time this year, we've made a higher high. With that, I mean, it's really first time since the all-time high, we're making a higher high on total of some sort. Same with Ethereum.
Yeah, let's go over
Bitcoin,
there.
Bitcoin, not yet. I don't know. I mean, like, I guess you could say if we talk about March 9th, we regard that as a swing high of some sort, then I'd say yeah, but not yet. I mean, you got to take out 44, 40. I would say 45K. You take out 45K, we can say, like, with confirmation that Bitcoin's making the first higher high since it made its all-time high November 8th.
Ethereum had this great retest at the 2400 level. Um, Not the greatest of patterns, and again, I'm not going to talk about just get into those details. I just want to talk about levels, but uh, basically 26, 2400 generally for Ethereum been fairly significant. We've been looking at that first test as a reaction, which it did. It hit our target level resistance at 3275, came back for the full XA retest. So if you want to see bigger things for Ethereum, you've already satisfied that secondary test, and our target 2 on this takes you to 3886. What's that?
Hmm.
That's Bybit feed. What's Ethereum on like Coinbase? Same deal. Yeah, 3880,
Yes,
3890.
like support resistance like 39.50 or whatever. That peak from September 3rd or whatever.
And this
What?
too,
Yeah.
let me just trace this out because this is something where if you're looking for a bullish development, you do have kind of this W formation just in the last 30 days that your B points at a XA, B points at a 75 level. So that's not a Gartley, and that's not going to be a retracement off of that, whatever that downtrend was from February, mid February to late February. That, again, just connecting dots. A lot of people that know the patterns know how to do this. It gives you a minimum consideration where, and it's clearly giving a nice breakout. You're how many? 8, 9 days, or no, yeah, like 9 days out of the last 12 up, and all of the levels up on Ethereum again, 36, maybe 39 on the top side. So Ethereum
Yep, and the only thing that makes sense.
looking a lot better now than maybe 2 months ago. Really needed a lot of time, and again, that shows you where the retest stabilization will take more time, but that's the better opportunity.
Yep, and the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart has been our guiding light on that, on like how do we allocate maybe our capital if we want to make the best yield and for this recovery. The Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, wonderful, oversold. It was oversold in an uptrend
You
for a second test.
you've been talking about that a lot. Here it is. Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Bitcoin's pushing highs.
There you go. Bitcoin, Ethereum is major support under just under 7 cents, 6.8, 6.5 on the cents on the downside, but a lot
And
of
it's got
patterns
a
there.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous, man. Dude, it is just it's a fractal of U.S. oil before U.S. oil went berserk. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
looking
like
at the
post
on
Elm.
Binance feed. It's amazing. Look at this. Back to back to back. Here's just since last June. Incredible. Bat pattern off of back in August of last year, then down to a bullish bat, back up to a deep crab. Now you're coming off a shark. And every one of these patterns went and hit their target one levels at a minimum. And that's in this instance for Ethereum Bitcoin, that's up at 7.78 cents minimum.
Are you talking about Satoshis?
Yeah, sorry, Satoshi's cents. Sorry, get the vernacular correct.
Yeah,
That
dude, I know. It's like, well,
and that's a shark. We do have a shark pattern preceding it, so a likely 5618 on that gets you up, continues to get take you higher. That's really bullish for the larger trend. Uh,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you've
so
seen
nice.
Ethereum Classic recently.
Oh my God, yeah, it's been killing it.
Check
It
out
broke out.
back to back patterns. This one had a big crab pattern down at 24. Still a type 1, and now we a few of these coins actually that have gone berserk in the last few days have run into some crab patterns on. This is a daily, and that's XA levels basically 49.65, $50 is your resistance, and look for this to do a type 1 reaction. And some of these that have already moved quite a bit uh, might do have a little reaction off of the 1618s. They're doing like that first explosive rally, but once they finish this reaction, then that's where I'm going to look for the larger return that maybe starts next week, maybe in 2 weeks. But um, a lot of this
It's
is
broken
setting
back
up.
above. It broke back above that daily candle high close from April of 2021 that ended up becoming like a base of support. You can clearly see it afterwards. It was created. You broke that, and now you are
Oh
back
yeah,
testing that as support, like today. So you're like in that in a new zone.
all the way back there.
Yeah, I'm just posted like what I had. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close to a butterfly. I mean, that's with that type 2 at 2463. That was massive, man.
There's the larger chart. I mean that's. But again, even with that crazy chart, Ethereum Classic, anywhere you go here, you have to say that that longer term downtrend is uh, not only broken out, but preceded by some pretty nice stabilization, double test behavior. Let me go here on the weekly. Yeah, I'm
These
probably
legacy coins.
probably even stretching it out. And this isn't by far. There's many others that are, I think, even better than
Yeah,
this. But the
for
fact
sure.
that this was one of the first ones to really demonstrate what can happen once we get to the right of that downtrend with a stabilized initial low, secondary test. Take a look at this. Again, this is just Ethereum Classic, but a sign that we're starting to spread out, get into, a larger speculation or larger money flow is another way to think about it into some of these altcoins that could get the thing moving finally. But
Hmm.
here is, Ethereum Classic could be something like this with 88 swing 886. It'll take time, but that's a weekly chart, and your A to C level are just two very nice concise lows followed by now the start of a CD leg.
Yeah, of course, the big wave.
Take a look at that. Where's let's show one or two more. The Bitcoin above 44. Eh,
Flirting.
let's go to the 5 minute chart. See what. Yeah, 44.4. I think is where you could really see this go. There was a nice 5 minute bat pattern just a little while ago that kicked this off. Um, let's see what that does by tonight because it's again super strong above the 43. Here's even on the 5 minute chart, you had a failed bearish pattern, and another example of what we want to see for all patterns. Here's a 5 minute just from today. This thing blew out this crab pattern,
Yeah, wow. Outperformance.
but does it hits the pattern? Look at that huge bar on the 5 minute time frame. Up 500 plus, and then there's the terminal bar marked by that sun icon, and just continues higher, bar over bar over bar. That's really a sign of being kind of flawed, I'd like to say, where you're not jumping in. Even if you were going to wait for confirmation on a 5 minute chart, which you did get to the right here, again, where you're looking to short, it just blows right through. That's what
Hmm.
I want to see on the daily. I want to see that over the next week do this kind of steady climb continuation. Go here on the daily, and two, three more bars to take out 45.
Yeah, and you do that, man. Promised land. I mean, upside potential above 45. We got, 14 to 16% upside on Bitcoin. So I mean that's, from how range bound we've been, that's incredible.
And I want to
But
highlight a couple alts.
yeah, man. Shoot, dude. Where to begin, right?
Let's start with LRC on the daily. And all of the charts I'm looking at now for crypto are going to be altcoins, mostly, well, all altcoins for the things I've been saying of where I feel like the speculative moves will be. And then favoring the massive patterns getting generated on the software daily and weekly only. Here's LRC, which was that huge level 2 move back from October, November, came back full 886. Now, um, another one where pattern completion versus the trigger were two different spots. There's the pattern completion was January 25th, but the trigger wasn't
Wow.
until 25 bars, actually 28 bars later. And all of that was 75 cents, and this is still treat that as a type 1. I think this is can be, for target 1 to look for that as a reaction. Um, Probably a good way to go coming out of the zone. It's doing the first move where you've established a couple of lows and forming a W coming out of the zone. Now I want to see the follow through really above 110, 115.
My God, if you break 112, did you see that resistance from April of 2018? It's like a wormhole. You break that for real, you're going up to maybe 223. Like no problem. Why not? I mean, it's literally like straight up, straight down. I mean, 10 order book above 112.
Mitch is
I
referring
think you'll get.
to this.
Yep.
It's the prior all-time high. You had the massive run, and then you come back and retest that. Dangerous spot. Really, I mean, dangerous, dangerously good, meaning like that's where
Yeah.
things can happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where those gains go. I mean, like, say you break 112 for real, you're talking 100% upside. Yep. You could double your money above 112 if you're above it long enough. That would be like just a reasonable, what, 50%, 618 from your peak from the harmonic, you know? Yeah, that's a 50% retrace. There's nothing unreasonable or weird about that. It just happens to be, yeah, you double your money, when it goes to a common retrace.
Yep. KNC is another one we've talked about. I know, Mitch, you've talked about it too.
What outperformer
Daily,
lately.
weekly, really, it's been stronger than a lot of altcoins. And now, if we get above that 450, forget it. But even off of this year's data, here's another perfect BAM reaction, BAM breakout. You go all time, that prior high from March down to the June 21 low, and then you have some kind of, it's a crazy B point. There's probably a better data feed. I don't know. Coinbase is a pretty good data feed. The W formations really be something like this, and then your 886 is up around $4. This is really was triggered a few weeks ago. Took out your B point at 250. Ever since then, again climbing its way, and there was a few pullbacks after the initial break, but 250, 240 to 250 up to $4 is the BAM breakout. Look for that back completion up to that zone.
Yeah, what is that? 397, $4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, four.
Yeah, so that just means like it's so cool and stuff what it's done, but it just means like the upside is more limited on KNC than other assets with that. So I think there's like more opportunity. I think it was amazing if you were able to own this asset during all the tumultuous events going on, right? Because it kept Bitcoin was selling off, it was rallying, S&P, index funds, tech, everything was dumping, but KNC was holding strong. But because of that, now it's like you've got that conundrum. Well, you've already retraced, 65% of the way. I mean, taking a fresh long doesn't seem very prudent right now, just in terms of risk and stuff, right? But yeah, I guess if you stay above 290 long enough.